Good morning, children. This video is in continuation of the previous video where we were doing principles of Henry Fayol. And this is the next principle we are starting with. It is remuneration of employees. Remuneration, you all know, is a common word for wages and salaries, and every employee come out of the house and joins the organization for the sake of getting good salary only, right? The remuneration payable to employee should be fair, reasonable, just, justified, and equitable so as to give them maximum satisfaction, and this maximum satisfaction for the employee as well as the organization. That means if we want to keep our employee happy, we have to give him good remuneration, agreed, but at the same time that good remuneration should be affordable for the employer also. It should not be that he feels the burden of paying the heavy wages and later on the company goes into losses. So the employee should be paid fair wage or the salary which would give him at least the reasonable standard of living, and at the same time it should be within the paying capacity of the employee. Now this system is very useful. So the positive effect of fair remuneration, that is justified remuneration, would be that it ensures good relations between workers and managers. At the same time, working of the company would become very smooth. And the negative effects, that means when we violate this principle, there can be unhealthy relations between the management and the workers, because they will remain very dissatisfied, and when the workers are dissatisfied, the relationships can get worse, and injustice to the employee may demotivate him, and he may not be willing to perform his best for the organization. Now children, when I use the word fair remuneration, there are various factors which decides that the remuneration is fair or unfair. The remuneration should be based on the experience and the qualification of the worker or the employee, plus his expectations also. Then if there is risk involved in the job, obviously higher wage should be paid, and the paying capacity of the employer also should be kept in mind while deciding the term fair remuneration. So Fayol was very flexible, and he has shown that flexibility in giving this principle, where fair remuneration, when he defined, it was from the angle of employer as well as employee. Now the next principle is principle of centralization and decentralization. Now children, in an organization where all the decision making powers rest with the top level management is called a centralized organization. That means, fine, there is delegation, the work is divided, but the decision making powers are not divided. So subordinates are doing the work, but they are not having the powers in hand. All decision making powers rest with the top. Whereas in a decentralized setup, there is systematic dispersal of powers to the lower level management. There is a deliberate attempt on the part of top level management that they share the powers with middle and lower levels of management. So that is a deliberate thing. But Fayol again was very adjusting by nature. So he said there should not be complete centralization, or there should not be complete decentralization, and there should be balance between the two. For several decisions which are very strategic, very crucial, there should be centralization, and the routine type of decisions should be decentralized. So let's read this thing very carefully. The concentration of decision making authority in the hands of top level management is called centralization. On the other hand, if decision making authority is shared with a lower level, it is called decentralization. An organization can never be completely centralized, and it can never be completely decentralized, so there should be balance between the two. Now this diagram is showing you on the left hand side a centralized setup. All decision making in the hands of top level management, everybody is dependent on them, and the other setup is shown, which is a decentralized setup where the power is distributed among various departments. Now positive effects of using this principle: there can be benefit of centralization as well as decentralization, because we are trying to strike a balance between the two. then fast decisions at operational level will be there. Because we are decentralized, we are giving powers to the operational level, so there will be fast decisions at operational level, and there will be strict control of top level management, because we are again having some sort of centralization also for the strategic issues. The negative effects if we violate this principle: first, it can be complete centralization. It can result in delay in decision making, because that top level manager only will be taking all the decisions. He will take his own time to take the decisions, so there will be delay in decision making. Then, if there is complete decentralization, it will lead to misuse of authority by the lower level managers. So in that case also, it will not be a good sin for the organization, right? Now, moving on to again one of the very important principle of management given by Henry Fayol, scalar chain. Scalar chain, children, first we need to understand what is scalar chain. Scalar chain actually is a line of authority or a chain of communication ranging from top to the bottom in the organization. A chain of superior ranging from top to bottom in the organization. So it contains only the managers, non-managers are not part of it. And Fayol was of the opinion that all communication in the organization should be done using this chain. So every communication should pass using a proper order or a proper channel, and no link should be left in between. So let's define the things properly now. The formal lines of authority from highest to the lowest rank are known as scalar chain. So a chain of superior from highest to the lowest rank is called scalar chain, and according to Fayol, an organization should have a chain of authority, and the communication that runs from top to bottom should be followed by managers and subordinates. So scalar chain should be respected by all in the organization. Now let's take one example. I am using the next diagram for the same. Say for example, B has to communicate with G. He cannot directly communicate with G. He has to take permission of A. Then A will send the message to E. E will send the message to F and then to G. Same way, if D has to communicate with G, the path will be D to C, C to B, B to A, and then A to E, E to F, and F to G. You may think that there can be delay in the communication then, but again Fayol showed his flexibility here, and he gave us the idea of gangplank. But this idea is reserved only for people, those who are working at the same level. Fayol was of the opinion that people working at the same level can have various common issues and problems. So in that case, they have to discuss those things, they have to sit together and discuss, and every time if they are going to follow such a big path, such a long path, then there will be delay in decision making. So he allowed the people working at the same level in the organization to take the decision or to communicate with each other just by taking permission of their immediate bosses. Like in this diagram, if D wants to communicate with G, then D has to take permission of C and G has to take the permission of F, and they can directly make a bridge between themselves, and that bridge is called gangplank. Moving back to the previous thing, now let us see what was the principle of scalar chain. See that these details are given, and gangplank, it is a concept which was developed to avoid delay in communication in case of emergency between two people working at the same level but in different departments. For example, D can directly contact G with the permission of their immediate bosses. So children, I hope the idea of gangplank is very clear to the children, right? And the scalar chain also. So in normal circumstances, it has to be followed, and in special cases we can violate